has really been a while since we left Outland, and while of course there wasn't an official book confirming all the changes, every single one, we have actually gathered a whole bunch of info over the years and what is going on this planet. For example, we know Sabellian and the Black Dragons essentially conquered Blade's Edge Mountains, we know Fell Orcs were mainly eliminated, we know demonic presence has been all but destroyed from Outland, and that overall the planet is a much safer place than it used to be when we were there. However, nonetheless, this is a planet that is actively dying every single day. So let us go over each zone and every single hint that we have in regards to what is the actual state of Outland at this point in time. Much like how these guys are using these ecodomes to protect themselves from Outland, you can also protect your eyes with GMG Performance. As gamers, we spend a lot of time in front of screens, and about a year ago, GMG Performance sent me these glasses and I've been using them since, especially when I'm spending the long hours in front of a monitor. Now, they have a bunch of models. The ones that I'm currently using are the Uranus ones. Right now, it is the best time ever to get these glasses. You can get them in almost half the price with a 40% discount, and it is an awesome Christmas gift. So make sure to click my first link in the description and check out GMG Performance. Unlike the recently released alternate book, we don't really have one that gives us some crazy official updates in regards to what is happening in Outland, although we do have some books that actually mention Outland. Nonetheless, all throughout the years we had gathered a bunch of hints, even as recent as Dragonflight, where we learned about Sabellian and what he's been up to. So I'm going to cover all the zones piece by piece, as well as the world of Outland in general and what is actually going on. As you may know, Outland used to be Draenor, and we have actually been to Altered Draenor and seen what it used to look like all those years ago. However, orcs played a bit with the devil and created a whole mess where they quite literally blew the planet apart. This destroyed its atmosphere, broke a ton of zones apart, made a lot of races extinct, and most importantly, got Outland to float around in the twisted nether, where it is and was constantly just picked apart by demons. This completely naturally made us a really hellish and insanely dangerous uninhabitable place where there were just crazy threats everywhere, mutations, bunch of really nasty beings that you wouldn't want to encounter. To make matters even worse, the resources were super messed up as well due to barely any existing ecosystem, so it is constantly a battle for survival on this planet, as Outland was literally scarcity incarnate. I don't really need to tell you all this, as I'm guessing all of you have visited Outland at least once. However, since we have left over 15 years ago, things have been going a little differently. Most importantly, we actually managed to defeat the Legion, and they really were the biggest and the most organized threat on Outland. We already did this all those years ago when Illidan was around, but we literally had imprisoned Sargeras quite a few years ago and just broke the entire army, meaning that they don't really have any way to return. However, this does not mean at all that Outland is now completely demon-free. While the Legion as an organization was defeated, demons still 100% exist, and they are just as chaotic, just not as organized. So it is naturally possible for a lot of these local commanders to remain that don't own allegiance to anyone, and to also just get random demon incursions, possibly even like single demon incursions, as the planet is really right there floating in the twisted nether, so they can just barge in. We did get official information from Blizzard that the place is a lot less hostile and a lot more habitable, but it doesn't mean that Outland is safe or that it is a normal planet by any metric. In regards to normal planet, that brings us to the second point. So we have seen Outland in the cinematic in Battle for Azeroth, which was quite recently, and you saw that Nagrand looked good, the planet is still around. However, the thing about Outland is that it is really just doomed, and it would require some insane magic for it to actually be saved, if that even is possible. So as we know, the official Blizzard data, the planet is in just a constant state of deterioration. Like literally it is falling apart, pieces of land just going to nowhere, zones that are being split apart, food can grow in some areas, but even when it does, it is just incredibly weak and really prone to just not going anywhere. So while it still has some composure and looks decent in some areas, it really is only a matter of time before Outland is just no more, like it is just gone. Of course, we don't really know how this works in World of Warcraft, so this could happen maybe 10,000 years from now, turning the place uninhabitable, or it could happen in literally 10 years. We really just don't have any info on this. However, in regards to the overall planet, we do have some interesting information with the zones. Overall, from the info that we have, the two big threats are gone from Outland. Legion, as I mentioned, doesn't have a presence anymore, although demons do, and Illidan and Kiltus are not around. As you know, when you played the Burning Crusade, those were really the biggest enemies we faced, Illidan and his army and the Blood Elves, causing a ton of chaos and civil strife and just messing things up everywhere. Well, none of that is happening anymore. It is almost certain right now that the two most influential forces on the planet are the Draenei, the broken and the regular ones, with some of them returning, and the mega orcs that still live there, and also the Alliance and the Horde that maintain a nominal presence, but there really isn't some superpower that is pulling all the strings or that has like complete hegemony over Outland. So let us just start zone by zone from the map and let's combine the data that we have. In regards to Hellfire Peninsula, and really the first place you see from the Dark Portal, first thing is, you know, obviously the Dark Portal, and that thing is as maintained and observed as it gets on both sides on both planets. However, Alliance and the Horde presence is significantly weakened, as there really is no point in maintaining a crazy military presence on like a half-dead planet. Thrallmar and Honorhold are still there, but they're without a doubt just really like a skeleton crew type thing, and I'm guessing they wouldn't really have expanded in any way since we left, possibly even downsized just so that they can be maintained in case of future use, but there really is no point in upscaling these settlements. Hellfire Peninsula is particularly uninhabitable, and I'm guessing that really hasn't changed. However, a lot of the pit lords and the crazy demons you might have encountered from Hellfire Peninsula should have been completely removed. In particular, we actually have some information about one of the main enemies from the zone, and those are the notable Fell Orcs. They're all but completely extinct by this point, they're just no longer there. Most of them have been wiped out during the assault on the Hellfire Citadel, and they're not exactly really a healthy society that is rebuilding themselves or really has any chance of restoring their manpower, so no more Fell Orcs. Now, next on the line, we have the Shadowmoon Valley. This, once again, is one of those really scorched and just dead zones. However, this one has actually changed. Illidan and his demon hunters are no longer there. Plus, later down the line, we learned that he was actually on our side, and he has been kind of using this place as his base to fight the Burning Legion, so really we were the bad guys. However, the demon hunters really don't have any reason to turn this into like a brand new city, and we actually know Akama and the Broken have managed to take over the Black Temple, and at one point, they actually began restoring it. From the Wolfheart novel, we have actually learned that, while a lot of people expected the Draenei to just go back to Outland now that it was freed, most of them had actually stayed on Azeroth. However, some have actually went back and repaired their homes and started some rebuilding. We don't really know up to like what scale. However, it is hardly ever going to become Kerabor again, and I doubt some big restoration project will happen at any point in time. Now, next down the line, we have the Terokkar Forest. This is actually one of the half-maintained zones, although it is still obviously a mess. Terokkar is most likely mainly Draenei territory by this point, and we actually know Shattrath as a city is still active. It is still ruled by Naru, although Khadgar has obviously left. However, this is not actually a dead city, despite actually being one in the game. Very recently, the Horde Alliance maintained portals to this place, so it is still a thing. We don't know what the exact state is, but with 15 years of stability, it is likely that Shattrath has grown, and that a lot of those planning to live in Outland had probably moved to Shattrath, as this is really as close to society as you can get in a place like Outland. Now, in regards to the most notable race in Terokkar, the Arakoa, they are said to be in complete ruins, mainly that we have seen a few individuals over the years. One thing is certain though is that they're just not rebuilding back to their former glory, as you may know from Outland and Draenor, they used to be an incredibly advanced civilization. Next on the line, we have Nagrand. This is like the Outland zone, and this is like the last bastion of what Draenor used to look like the most highly functioning zone. We know for a fact that Megars still live here, and it is almost certainly mainly their territory. Keep in mind, the currently playable Megars are actually from Outland and Draenor, not these guys from Nagrand, although definitely some have come to Orgrimmar, such as, you know, obviously Geralt Shellscream. We don't know a whole lot about Nagrand, but it is obviously a decent place, as Thrall literally decided to move there with his family. Velk Solfang actually said it's kind of weird that the place looks so good, yet it is obviously falling apart, as if like it's even wrong to return back to their homeworld. We can see that grain actually grows in Nagrand, but just like the planet, it seems to fall apart pretty quickly. Nagrand obviously shares the fate of the entire planet, but thus far it seems to be in the best condition of all the zones. Now, in regards to Zangarmarsh, obviously this place is not suddenly going to turn into a lush forest, but this is one of the places on Outland that actually had some resources and wildlife, but at the time all of that was drained and abused by the Naga. Seeing that we had defeated the Naga, it is likely that the entire place turned back to what it was before the arrival of Illidan, which really we don't know what that was. However, it should be in a better state than it currently is in the game with all those machines removed. Next down the line we have the Blade's Edge Mountain. So most importantly, we know Gruul, the big bad guy there, was defeated, and we can actually just learn from Dragonflight that Sabellian and the Black Dragonflight had subsequently managed to bend the entire zone to their will, meaning that they not only completely dominated the area despite not actually being native to Outland, but they had also established quite a presence on the planet. Most recently, Sabellian returned to Azeroth with a lot of his dragons. I'm guessing all the dragons had migrated to Azeroth, as really it was always their goal to reclaim the Dragonflight. There's really no point in maintaining a presence on a half-dead planet. So realistically, the fate of this zone at the moment is really up in the air. Furthermore, the Mok'Mathal are probably still around, but they were always very few in numbers, and I doubt all that much changed throughout this period. Lastly, we have Netherstorm. Now, this is like the worst zone ever on Outland, and I doubt much has changed over the years. It's hardly inhabitable. It's never really been inhabitable, aside from like the Ethereals and a few creatures that live there. The main difference here is that the Blood Elf and Legion presence is actually gone, so those threats aren't active there, but I really don't expect something crazy has changed or that the Netherstorm suddenly became super habitable. It's still a mess, and it's still ripe to be invaded by all those crazy cosmological threats just non-stop. So that really is the mainly what we know. While realistically we could learn some crazy magic and there could be some storyline where we might be able to save Outland, maybe with the help of the first ones, who knows. I honestly doubt it would happen. The thing is, we had been there in an entire expansion, we had another alternate history expansion, so I doubt we would go to Outland for round 3. Although I could totally see us going there with some questline or some unrelated activity where we could learn more about this decaying planet. Thank you for watching. Check out Nagrand and Resurrect the Outland by clicking on the screen, and check out the Academy for videos on real world history. See you next time.